SQL Prompt is our most loved tool. I think there's 50 or 60,000 people using it every single month now. And we've got a team of developers working on it. And they're taking this really interesting approach to software development, one which I think is relevant to all of you in this audience. So telling the development team what to do. And they decided we don't need that anymore. What we're going to do is get our customers to tell us what to do, i.e. all of you to tell them what to do. So what they do now, they've instrumented SQL Prompt with a web tool called User Voice and let people just tell them inside the tool, what is it you want us to do? So in the last year, they've released SQL Prompt 184 times, delivering 139 requests. So literally once a day, SQL Prompt is moving forward, getting better and better every single day. But that was quite an expensive place to get to. So they spent about a year before that working through every single automated test. There's literally thousands and thousands of automated tests. Every time there's a little change in that code, another test is written so that everything is completely rock solid. But after investing a year and working really hard on the infrastructure and the automation, that investment now means they can make changes every single day that can hit users and the users can use straight away. And that change in the way we've worked means that we can get a lot of value, which has meant that SQL Prompt now has got a Net Promoter User Score of 81%. Net Promoter is, if you ask someone who uses SQL Prompt, would you recommend this to a friend? 81% of people give it 9 or 10 out of 10. So that compares to an Apple iPhone, one of these things. This is only 60%. So Redgate have got a product better than the Apple iPhone. What a load of crap, eh? So the way we see it is that SQL Prompt's reality is what the future is going to be like for many of you. You're going to invest in automation. You're going to listen really hard to your customers and you're going to make changes much more rapidly to your websites or your applications. And by doing that, you're going to get a much better result. You're going to be told, hey, we love your software. Your software's doing something really, really useful for us, the customer. And that's something that all of us want, right? We want our stuff to actually work for the people who are using it. And what we're going to be talking about today, really, in aggregate, is how Redgate is going to try and help you get there. Next, database lifecycle management. This has been a huge investment for Redgate. And basically, at the core of database lifecycle management is this idea that the database code is as important, should be treated with the same reverence as the application code. In fact, many of us think that the database code should be treated with more reverence than the application code because, hey, you make a change to the database, you can damage the data. You make a change to the application, you just delete it, get it wrong, put it up there again. Who cares? So, and at the core of that is putting your database code into your version control system. That's something we invented back in 2010, is it? 2009? We're pushing out, we're now on version 4 of SQL Source Control, came out in the last couple of months. Version 4 had object locking, means you can work on a stored procedure without anyone else changing it at the same time, something that a lot of people really wanted. Version 4.1 out this week has got vastly improved support for Git, the most popular version.
Who uses Git? Lots of you, right? Git is amazing.
Git's the version control system a lot of people are moving onto. Also, earlier this year, we acquired ReadyRoll. Is Daniel in the audience?
Where's Daniel?
Is he here?
He's hiding.
He's hiding behind the pillar. So we acquired ReadyRoll off Daniel Nolan, who's at the back there. I really encourage you to go to his talk today. Daniel Nolan was this lonely voice telling the world that we needed to think about the database properly, treat it with the same respect in Visual Studio as he's done it. Make sure you're treating the database with the same respect as the application code. He's been saying this for like 7, 8 years, maybe longer now. And for a long time as lonely voice. And what we're hoping to do is to join in the chorus. Hey, let a lot of people hear this great message. And he's got a really fantastic way of thinking about how you should work together. And if you use ReadyRoll, it means, or the ReadyRoll technology, it means you can really push automation really, really far down in the system.
And he's talking this afternoon. So developers, come see Daniel talk.
One of the things about database lifecycle management that we've really struggled with and are really having to think differently about as a challenge for us is that in the past, Redgate's proposition was try out our software, prove yourself very quickly that it's valuable, and then if it's valuable to you, you can buy it and there's a nice tight circle, right? We do something good, you try it out, you can pay us, and you can use that software. With database lifecycle management, we've got this challenge. It's more complicated. It's a whole series of tools working together. It's a whole change in mindset and culture and thinking about how you get the value out of it. And to do that, we've had to change the way we're operating too. So one of the big ways we're doing that is through Redgate's partner program. We've got people who, so we've got, I think here in the audience, we've got DevOps guys. I can see these guys here. Done some great work with those guys already. And we've got Skelton and Thatcher Consulting. Are you guys here somewhere as well?
One
at the back. The Skelton and Thatcher Consulting guys, they've got this special DevOps buzzword bingo card. You can go and get that now. I'm trying to say, DevOps Regents, anyone?
Yeah. We're going to incorporate some of these in the talks.
So what these guys are doing is helping companies to go through the whole mindset change, the whole thinking. It's not just enough just to have a tool. You've got to stitch these tools together. It's not just, you can't just employ technology, you've got to change your culture and your habits a bit as well. And they've been helping us do that, and we're off to a really fantastic start.
Yeah, we spent last winter building these workshops. We built 3 of them to kind of help you learn how to implement your database and version control, and implement continuous integration for your databases with automated testing, and then build a package that you can automatically deploy forward. And we've got these all-day hands-on workshops that are a great way for you to gain confidence and then take this back to your office the next week. You know, I've attended a few of these in the US, and our sales engineers have been here in the UK, and it's a great way for you to learn. I think we've got some later this year.
Got some in December. So who went to one yesterday? Anyone here?
Anybody go? A few people?
We see anyone with a hand up. Maybe ask them what they thought of it.
This guy in the pink shirt, ask him. All right, so I know Simon's really excited now, but we want to talk about something else.
Hey, Steve, what about data generator?
No. I know you guys use Redgate tools, you're excited, but we want to talk about things that are more important to you, things that you care about, right? You've got to build software faster, build software better. That's what most of you do, right? You have to manage systems. And so that's really important these days, right? We want you to make changes quickly. We want to show you how to make that easy. We want you to ship often and ship safe. But what does safe mean, right? These days, we're always under attack now. How many of you have had identity theft issues in the last few years? How many of you have had your information released by some company that got attacked or hacked? Some of you have, probably some of you don't know. Simon, have you seen this? HaveIBeenOwned.com? Troy Hunt put this together. And what he does is he gets copies of all the information released, and he allows you to search for your email, see if your information has been released somewhere, see if you've been attacked. Should we check your email, Simon?
I've not got a good feeling about that, Steve.
No? Let's see if I can work this correctly. So let's change this to Simon's email. Who thinks Simon's going to be in there? Yeah.
Why are you so happy about it?
What do we got? So Simon, your information was released in Adobe hack a few years ago. Your email, password, encrypted passwords out there, password in plain text. Who stores passwords in plain text? Please nobody raise your hand. If you do, please go change that on Monday. But what do you think about Adobe now? Should we buy some Adobe software for Redgate?
So what? My password's available on the internet for anyone to find now?
It is. You don't use that on any other site, right? What do you think about all the IT staff that work at Adobe that have allowed this to happen? Right?
Well,
their systems were compromised in some way.
Well, Steve, let's put it this way. I'm hoping they're not getting a promotion and a pay rise this year. You know, that's my password they put out there.
Would we hire any of these guys at Redgate?
Well, I hope not.
No, we probably wouldn't, right? We'd be concerned about that. Now, certainly, all these companies have suffered these breaches in the last few years. And what we're finding is that last year we were attacking e-commerce sites, financial sites, things like that. But those credit card numbers, those type of information isn't that valuable because we build great BI systems. We detect fraud quickly. We cancel those cards immediately. Users check all your information on your mobile phone. You can cancel an account quickly. But what about other information like your national insurance number in the US, your social security number? That's hard to cancel. Or your date of birth. How many of you could change your date of birth? That's tough, right? Just this week, Dow Jones was hacked. Huge crash in the US stock market, right? But this one was really interesting. Ashley Madison. I don't want to ask anybody if you're a member of Ashley Madison. Obviously, there's various reasons why this information was perhaps bad, but when this happened, there was a failure of the development process. How many of you have QA servers? That's not very many of you. I know you're English, but please, let's respond. So in the Ashley Madison hack, all this information was uploaded to the web, and one of the files in the upload was a dump, a backup of a database server. It was the QA server. Forensic scientists found this was made in QA locally. Now we don't know if the developer made the backup and the hacker copied the file, or if the hacker compromised credentials and made the backup themselves. The point is, sensitive information, emails, passwords, other information was on the QA server. That's a failure of the development process. So all the money you've spent on firewalls and protecting production doesn't matter because we've got sensitive data in production. We don't want that. We don't want to put that production data into development processes.
Well, I get that bit, Steve, but we don't want to test against toy databases either, otherwise there's no point doing the test. We've got to have something realistic to test against, haven't we?
You're right, but our production database is hundreds of gigabytes. Probably some of you have terabytes of data in production. How many of you want to copy that to QA every day? How many of you want to copy it to development machines, to laptops, right? The time it takes to make that copy, not to mention the cost of storage, is just prohibitive. It's too expensive. We can't do it.
Well, Steve, you know, as a DBA, you're always telling me what can't be done, but
That's my job.
as a CEO, I've got another job, which is to say, stop moaning. You know, like don't give me problems, give me answers. You know, you can't tell me it's impossible to create a anonymized set of realistic data. You can't tell me it's impossible to be able to spin up large production environments in a few seconds. You can't tell me it's impossible to move changes really safely from development all the way through to production and make sure it's really safe. You can't tell me that's impossible, can you?
Who thinks it's impossible? A few of you. So it's not impossible, right? As a matter of fact, at Redgate, we've been working hard to try to make the impossible possible. So we've been working on a lot of new products, and one of the ones we're really excited about is Instant Clone. So I want to bring Alistair Smith up here. He's been working on our team. He's a developer. And we've been trying to make Instant Clone work to help you get realistic test data that's anonymous. So Alistair, what do you do?
Hi everyone, I'm a developer on the SSDT team at Redgate. If you're doing database development in Visual Studio, please come to the hands-on lab straight after this keynote. We'd love to talk to you.
So some of you probably use SSDT. You know, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to use anything else. There's better tools out there. But we've been working on some extensions, and we've got data generated integrated into SSDT or Visual Studio. And we use this as part of our Instant Clone process. So in Instant Clone, we're going to make a copy of that production data. We're going to take all that production data and we're going to copy it and make a snapshot. So we're going to need that space. But when we do that, what we want to do is mask our data.
Absolutely.
We don't want production data. So data generator is going to allow me to copy my primary keys, my foreign keys, and my information that I think is important, the same size of data in production to development. But I'm going to mask sensitive data. So in this case, the email address, I'm not going to put that into development. I'm not going to put it in QA. We can use data generator to produce random email addresses. Still work with our application, still allow us to test, but we're not exposing this information in non-secure environments. So we've already done this.
Absolutely.
It worked.
Yep.
You don't want to watch us generate, gigs and gigs of data. So once we've got that snapshot, we can now use Instant Clone to peel off copies of our database. So Alistair can go into Instant Clone and he can make a copy of that database, which has the sensitive information removed, right? And he make a copy for QA. And he can make a copy for the developers. And he can spin off as many copies of this as he wants. Of this 10 gigabyte database, he's making copies right now. Now, I know I told Simon it's impossible, it takes a long time, but you're seeing clones appear in a few seconds. How many of you could copy 10 gigabytes of data that quickly? A few of you? Some of you? Well, the way this is actually working is that SQL Server sees this as a real database. So if we were to look at this original 10 gigabytes and we look at these databases, we see them in Object Explorer like any other database. It's exactly what we need as developers and as tested. If we look at the size, we see the full-size database. But we can't copy 10 gigabytes that fast. You can't, right?
No,
I can't.
definitely not.
So let's look at what that actually does. We're actually creating a few stub files in the file system. So I've got this 44 megabyte file. That's your database. That's your 10 gigabytes of data in there. Now we're not compressing it. We're using Redgate Magic to do this. So if you'd like to see how this works or you want to experiment with it, please take a look in the hands-on labs to let us know. This is in beta right now, but we're trying to get it ready. But we want feedback from you. We want to know how this works for you, what you can do differently. Now I've also got this terabyte file here. This is the limit for Instant Clone right now, but it's not really a terabyte. It's just a virtual stub, because this laptop doesn't have terabytes of storage on it. It's just there as a stub file. So we've got our production data, we've masked it, we've made it available for developers and testers. Now we want to use it and we want to make some changes. We don't really want to do it in this database though. We want to make some changes to SQL in the City, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Alice is going to show you how we can make some changes to SQL in the City to our website in real time.
Okay, so with the event now underway, we want to make some changes to the speaker page. We've got these great black and white pictures, but let's face it, it's not really doing Steve's Star Wars shirt justice, is it? So what we're going to do, in addition to that, we've also got a structural change that we want to make to the database. So earlier in the year, we decided that we'd rename the company Redgate, all one word, because there was confusion.
I can't spell that.
Confusion about whether it was two words, hyphenated, etc. So what we're going to do is rename a column in the database as well from red-gate-speakers to remove that first dash and just make it redgate-speakers. So how many of you use SQL prompt snippeting? Not enough of you, not nearly enough.
You guys have to use this, it's fantastic.
It's fantastic, it really is. You can set up templates for your scripts and then just type a few characters to auto-fill that information. So for example here, we've got one snippet to set up the column rename, and we can execute that. And then we can also do the same thing with the pictures. So you can see we're just updating the paths to the files there. We'll execute that as well. We'll now pop over to SQL Source Control and view the changes there. And you can see here that we've got full diffs of the changes that we've made, including the changes to the files and also the column rename here as well. So we'll just check that into our version control system, version, and leave a comment as well.
A good comment though, right? You guys write comments when you commit code? All of you should write comments. Don't tell me what you did. Tell me why you did it, so that 6 months I know what to go fix when you broke it.
Okay, so that's now checked in, and we can pop over to Team City. This is a continuous integration tool which monitors your version control system for changes to your source control repository. It'll build your application and sort of package it up, test it, etc., all completely automatically. Using SQL CI, the Redgate product, we can also do the same for the database too. So we can see here that it's already detected the changes that we made to our database, and it's now running through a deployment of the changes, running the tests against it, and ultimately it will sort of package that database up into a release that we can push further down the pipeline.
So while that's going on, DLM dashboard, we'll show it here, allows me as a DBA or as an operational person to keep track of what's going on. So Alistair made changes to the system, and those have kind of been detected. And as a matter of fact, the version of my database has been updated from the build server. So every time we make a change, we're incrementing the version, we can keep track of it. We know exactly what changes were tested, exactly what changes were committed to source control. More importantly, as this process moves forward, as we deploy those changes to other environments, we can keep track and be sure that the changes made in development are exactly the same changes deployed to production. So in production, we're at version 38, same thing in other environments. Right now, development has moved forward. As a DBA, I can now see the future coming. And as the CI process completes, we're going to go ahead and see that this database will be updated to the new version. And then we have some confidence that the changes made in development are exactly those changes that have been deployed over to the next environment. I think my CI server is running a little slow today. Everybody get off the Wi-Fi now, please, right now. There we go. It's updated now. So because the versions are the same, this is actually detecting what the schema looks like in each of those environments. And so I'm confident that exactly the same changes were made in both environments right now.
Yep, and SQL CI will work with many other release systems. It's, continuous integration systems. It's not Team City specific. You can use it with TFS build, you can use it with Bamboo, with Jenkins. It'll plug into pretty much whatever you're using, essentially.
So now what do we want to do with this?
Now we want to push this further down the pipeline into our staging environment. So we can switch over to Octopus Deploy. How many of you are using Octopus? Excellent. It needs to be more of you, essentially, because this is a fantastic tool for automation of deployments. So what we're going to do here is take the package that we got out of Team City and deploy it to our staging environment in an automated fashion.
So how many of you want to let your developers deploy to staging? Some of you? A few of you, right? We want to do that. We want to move faster. Thing is, we're going to stop this here, and we're going to allow me to make sure that these are the changes I want. I like to look at changes when they're going to staging, and then stop and make sure that they're the changes that I want to go forward. Because when I go to production, typically I've got Simon yell at me and saying, we've got to deploy this today. So if there's a problem, typically I have to deploy it anyways with a bug, and then we fix it right away. But now in staging, I can stop and examine things, see what's going on. So the release is actually stopped at this point, notified the DBA. Anybody can come in here and pick up this ticket and say, what's going on? We can look at what changes are being made. So we build this great report that I can give to project managers or my change management board or my auditors. Let them see exactly what's happening in the environment. These are the changes that are going to occur. More importantly, I can see the exact code that's going to run. So I'm confident that what happened here is what's actually going to run in production. You know, it's going to run in staging now, and then it's going to run in production. So once we're happy with this, we think it looks good, I think it does look good, we can approve this. Right? We can put in a comment of some sort, and then we proceed. And this way, we've got an audit trail. We know who approved the change, what changes were made. This gives me a lot of governance and a lot of compliance help in terms of tracking my application and ensuring that what is changed in development is actually what's going to production.
Okay, and you're happy to do this?
Let's do this now.
Yeah, okay. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Hopefully nothing will go wrong. So now we've done all this stuff. We've picked up the package from CI. We've built a release, which is the upgrade script that's going to apply to the database. I've approved that manually. And then the changes get deployed to the next environment. And we're using automation and software to ensure that that's repeatable and it's reliable, that we know it's going to happen the same way every time. So it's still running?
It's just finished.
It's just finished.
Yeah.
Excellent. Go to DLM dashboard for a second.
Okay.
So now we see we've got the same version moved here automatically. Right? We haven't done anything in the background. We're just pressing a few buttons here. And we're confident that those changes made in development that Alistair made are what moved all the way through to staging. So now let's deploy this to production. What do you say?
Absolutely.
Simon, you want to do the honors? You want to deploy this to production?
Yes.
How many of you want your CEO to deploy changes? How many of you trust him to run scripts?
What's wrong with you all? So is this definitely safe?
Absolutely safe. We've seen it deployed through multiple environments. It's going to happen the same way every time, so we're comfortable with you pressing the button. So now that same package that ran in staging is running again, right? No manual intervention. Nobody's made any changes. We haven't had to fix anything at the last second. We're confident that this is going to work. Are you confident?
I'm
confident
very
too,
confident.
right?
Yeah.
Why
So
are you
this-
confident?
It's the exact same thing that's been tested at every stage of the pipeline. So whatever ends up in production is what we've done in development and in testing along the way.
Should we check the website now?
Yeah, let's give it a go. Oh, wrong one. Lost it. There we go.
Let's
Great.
refresh it.
So, there we go.
That's not a good shirt, right? We don't like that. I think Grant's aged a few years as well.
Looking a bit peaky.
Alistair's played a little bit of joke with me. Obviously, we didn't want these pictures to go out to the SQL in the City production site. But we could fix that very quickly, right? We could update those paths to that data. We could deploy that through in another few minutes and have everything working correctly.
Great.
Alistair,
Thank you very much, Alistair.
No worries. Thank you.
What you've kind of seen there is, as Simon said, right, we're trying to put all these tools together. So we've had all these point tools in the past, but now we've joined them all together, we've linked them together to make it easier for you to build this process to release on your schedule, to ship often, ship safe. Some of you want to release like our prompt team, release every day. Some of you release once a year, like some of our HR customers. But in any case, we want you to release on your schedule by having everything work smoothly. And this is kind of the new reality. The DevOps movement is coming to more and more companies where we've got to respond to customers. We've got to make changes on their schedule. And we're helping you do that in a database so that it works as smoothly as your application changes. So what do you think, Simon? Is that a good demonstration of our tools?
Is the impossible possible then, Steve?
It's absolutely possible.
And one of the things that's really both exciting and scary for Redgate is that you can see we've used about 8 bits of Redgate technology. There's more technology than we've ever had, just made that whole demo possible. But it was sort of invisible, right? It's hidden behind TeamCity or behind Octopus. So we're trying to plug into all these other people's tools in order to let you do something incredible with the database. That's one of the reasons why the partner program is important to us, because we're going to need partners out there talking to all you to help you understand how this stuff all fits together.
Yeah, so talk to the DevOps guys, talk to Skelton Thatcher today, and see how they do it. They do it in the real world every day.
So finally, one of the things we've always believed in at Redgate is that you're the best judge of whether this stuff is right for you. It shouldn't be your boss or your boss's boss or your boss's 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 boss. It should be you guys who understand what this technology does and how it all works. So we really want you to try this stuff out. We've got loads of people here from Redgate. And you're doing us a favour too, because this is one of our great opportunities to meet real end users. So there's lots of people here who are going to be inspired for the next 6 months or next year because they've heard really what your problem was, how would this work for you? And that will actually be going straight back into the product. A lot of our engineers are here right now helping people so they can understand how they can make the software work better. So make the most of the day, talk to each other, try the hands-on labs, go to some of those great talks. I hope you have a great day here at SQL University London. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.